The handheld two-way transceiver is an extremely valuable tool for anything from emergency services to amateur radio use. In a survey a couple of years ago amongst a group of police officers in the UK, the portable two-way radio came out tops in what emergency personnel counted on as their most often used and most important piece of equipment needed in the field. Similar surveys were given to emergency service professionals over in the USA with similar results. In fact, the radio even beat the handgun. Now, I've had a few comments from people about some of the higher power radios that transmit 8 or 10 watts, saying they wouldn't like that amount of RF transmitting so close to their head, and this got me thinking. So I thought I'd share with you some best practice on how you can operate this important tool just as successfully at much lower power, and what effect this sort of RF exposure from a radio can have on the body, and vice versa. A quick charger is a must for recharging your handheld's battery pack. Nowadays most of them charge from the supplied base unit in around an hour or so, however USB often eliminates the need for a base charger at all. A quick charger allows you to pull the radio unit down to almost empty battery power and then quickly charge it up without overheating from an overcharge in older sets or ruining the battery in newer sets. So you have a fully charged battery. If your handheld has an adjustable power output setting, try to always transmit with lower power. Most radios transmitting 1 watt draw around 3 times less power than those running at 5 watts. Now, I know a lot of videos including my own highlight higher power as a selling point, but going from 1 watt to 5 watts rarely makes any substantial difference to communication range. For those new to the hobby, it might seem strange or counterintuitive to operate on low power, but trust me, it makes virtually no difference. Moving to a better location to transmit a low-powered signal back to a base station or another mobile or portable station may give you up to 4 times the operating time on your handheld transceiver's battery pack. So this next bit is for those concerned about the safety aspect and is the main point of this video. If you use an external microphone, don't transmit with the unit on your belt. 75% of the RF energy is soaked up into your body's water content and resonant organs, and guys, I don't need to remind you that the second most sensitive part of your body to RF radiation, the eyes are first, might be very close to where your handheld is attached to your belt. That being said, in all seriousness, incoming signal strength may be attenuated by as much as 15 dB, with the antenna resting against your body. To properly operate your handheld holding it up to your face, it's always good practice, according to bits and pieces I've read over the years, to keep the antenna as far away from your eyes as possible, but we'll come to the safety aspect further in a minute. You should also keep the antenna vertical. If you're transmitting to a base station with your antenna cross-polarized or horizontal, you can cut the radio's signal strength by as much as 4 times, or 6 dB. Operating your handheld upside down while transmitting puts RF into your lymph nodes. You'll often notice that putting the radio down on a desk without holding it reduces the incoming signal drastically. This is because when you hold the radio, you become sort of a ground plane, so it's always good to keep hold of the radio for better performance. Now, of course, at 4 or 5 watts, none of this is really any risk, especially at the frequencies radio amateurs tend to use, so don't worry. At 8 or 10 watts for long periods of time, well, that's not really going to cause any problems either. I suppose that's a matter of opinion and discussion that will always take place when it comes to these sorts of radios. All I will say is that there's never been anything linking the use of these frequencies at these power levels to any health risk, although there are continuing studies. Anyway, when possible, running your handheld mobile, connecting to an outside antenna is always recommended as the signal radiates much better. If you're using a high gain antenna as an alternative to the one provided, don't be surprised if your handheld picks up out of band or adjacent channel signals as well as intermodulation. This is because the handheld, especially the cheaper ones, aren't designed for high gain antennas in areas with more radio traffic or high powered transmitters. They often become desensitized, which can make them deaf or just receive lots of noise. So there you go, I thought I'd share some thoughts on higher powered radios. Although this video was aimed at some of the questions and comments regarding safety, this video is really more of a guide on getting the most out of your handheld, and I hope it encourages you to take one out to some local high spots this summer and try and make some long distance contacts.